Hi, and welcome back to another episode of the History of Fan Anime. I'm your host, William Chow, and in today's episode, I'm going to cover and find something that I just sort of ran across, and I realized that, there are things that we did back in the day having to do with mailing and sending things to each other and parcels and that kind of stuff that we don't think about in the modern day, obviously, because we don't do the same sort of things. In the same way. And I'm going to, show you some examples of things that we no longer use, but in concept we still do. Again, so before I get with that, I want to remind people to go down below, click like and subscribe. Again, I've just started doing the anime giveaway number 5, and I've already posted the second video of all the goodies that are available. I'll probably post maybe one or two more as I bring up some more things, and then I'm going to drop the shipping instructions on how you will and get all this free stuff to you. All right. So again, do check that out. There's a link below for all the different various episodes and that kind of stuff available on my anime database, which basically allows people to then see all the various different videos about the various content about mailing things, the whole concept of fan subbing VHS tapes and whatnot, all available on my list. Again, go down below and have a look at that. It does a way better job of showing all my videos and content, and way better than what YouTube would normally produce, trying to use their search. All right, much a better resource for that. Okay. And if you're interested in supporting me, by all means, click that like button and maybe write a little description or a little comment in below of some of the things that you sort of remember back in the day having to do with mail and whatnot. It really does help out the algorithm there. Again, if you want to support me financially, I also do have the super thanks button down below, as well as the link to PayPal and Patreon for all the subscribers. Now, again, I do have the extra little bonus for those people who are on the Patreon and for the subscribers to have extra episodes and that kind of stuff. I haven't posted all the episodes yet because, like I said, I'm kind of doing a bunch of things after the holiday. But yeah, definitely got episodes coming on with that, with the parodies and that kind of stuff. I also have we'll do a more subsequent episode in regards to this one, because there's a whole thing about customs and things that we used to do in that respect, how to get around anime and that kind of stuff around customs. Again, I won't post that on YouTube because obviously we're talking about very questionable practices, shall we say. But I'll put that on the Patreon available for you to see over there, okay? But and also, if this is you're thinking of participating in the anime giveaway, this is probably a good time, to get yourself on as a subscriber or a Patreon member, because again, I do give priority for those people in the anime giveaway. They get the first dibs on the stuff before everyone else does. All right, so that would be a good thing for you. Anyway, so today's topic again is some classic things that we used to do when we used to mail parcels to each other, okay? And so first thing I wanted to sort of get into when I was going through my archives and looking at things, I found a few things that I got from the post office that most people don't realize that actually still exist or still people do and use even to this day, okay? And so the first thing I've pulled out of archives is one of these things, okay? And you ask, well, what the hell is this thing? This is what they refer to as an international reply coupon, okay? Most of you will understand what an SASE, a self-addressed stamped envelope, is. Basically, back in the day when we used to mail things to each other, one of the things that we used to do is if you wanted a person to reply to your letter, you would send them an SASE, which is a self-addressed stamped envelope. So basically, the person would then basically be able to just take his information or whatever, throw it into your envelope. You've already put the guy's address and everything on that. You've even put a stamp on it for him, and then that person can then send all the information back to you. So usually it is common when you, for example, first introduce yourself. Hi, my name is William. I heard of your anime club or whatever. I'd like to, have learn some information about joining your club. Membership fees and things having to do with when your club meetings are, what newsletters and that kind of stuff. I've included a SASE to return this information back to me, and thank you very much, sort of thing, right? And that would basically allow people to then put their information or whatever, or fan list or VHS lists of VHS trading lists or something like that. They throw that into that envelope, and then they can send it back to you, and then you can get that information, and you can then order videos or whatever from these people. That's one common thing. But what happens if you don't have access to a stamp from that particular country? So again, being in Canada, I was able to and being a stamp collector even, I was able to get U.S. postage relatively easily. But let's say for example, I wanted to send stuff to England and wanted that person to send me back a reply. And I want to make sure he had the money to get the postage to send that back. Well, they had these things called international stamp coupons, right? Or international reply coupons, right? And the purpose of them is that you would go to your post office, in this case Canada Post, and be able to buy one of these reply coupons. Take this, put this into the letter that you put, and you can say, hey, I'm sending you this letter in addition with an international reply coupon. This person in England could take this coupon to this post office, and this coupon would allow him to buy an international stamp to put onto a letter to send it back to me. Okay, so whatever it cost in England or whatever country internationally to buy a international letter, to send that letter back to me to Canada, for example, this coupon will allow you to buy that stamp in whatever country it is for that. Okay, and it's, again, if you read the back of it here, it says this coupon is exchangeable in any country of the Universal Postal Union for one or more postage stamps representing the minimum postage for a priority item or an unregistered letter sent by air to a foreign country. Okay, so again, if I you send this in there, this should give the person enough money to send a letter back to me from whatever country that happens to be, as long as it belongs to the postal union. Again, that's anywhere that includes the U.S., Canada, England, Australia, Japan, China, whatever it happened to be. That those countries, you could send that letter, that coupon, they can redeem it, and then they can send that letter back to you. Again, something in the modern day, which is, I thought that they no longer actually do, but when checking up on some of the things, they do still do. I still can go to Canada Post and still buy these things and still send them out. Not, it took me a few outlets to find a person who works at one who knows what the hell those things are, because as I said, very few people even know what they exist, and even older, a lot of people don't even know that the format of this thing even looks like. Okay, so it's actually kind of rare to even find out somebody that even knows what the format of these things are. But again, they still do exist in the modern day. But yeah, we used to use those quite a lot, and I used to have a whole stack of these things, which still have in somewhere. I think I still have a few, still left. Okay, and so that's one of the things that we don't do. Now, the second part of these things that we used to do is in regards to this piece of sticker. Okay, so this is a customs sticker. Okay, and it's designed to basically, when you're sending a something, okay, let's say a DVD, a CD, a VHS tape, I'm sending something like that from Canada into the U.S., okay, so into another country, I'm supposed to declare what that thing is, obviously. So if it's a videotape or whatever, that has a line for that. And it's supposed to also have what its approximate value is, because then they are supposed to be theoretically be able to collect a certain amount of customs based on the item, based on how much the value of the particular item is. Okay. Now, on this particular forum, they have two boxes, which is really kind of interesting. There's two boxes. They have one that's labeled a gift, and the second which is labeled sample merchandise. Okay. Now, the neat thing about this is that there is certain kind of, I wouldn't say loophole, but there's certain things or exceptions that are allowable when we did customs. Because, like I said, in theory, okay, and if you want to call the letter of the law, if you will, is that if I send you a particular type of thing, let's say a box of 10 video cassettes, each video cassette being, let's say, $5, okay? So theoretically, the entire parcel of the box I just sent you is worth $50, okay? So traveling from Canada to the U.S., even though the tapes are not new and I've recorded anime on these video cassettes and I sent them to you, the U.S. Postal Government, okay, could and is highly I would say likely, but they can possibly charge you a certain amount of excise tax for that video cassette originating in Canada being sent into the U.S., especially if the video cassette is actually manufactured in Canada and not in the U.S., because again, that's supposed to protect the people who actually manufacture video cassettes in the U.S., right? So that's the idea of these things. That's why they have different taxing rates and that kind of stuff, and different things that have a higher tax on them based on its classification. So a lot of people when they send in these things, they usually write down what it is, how much it is, and then they usually mark down as a gift, okay, instead of as a piece of merchandise or a purchased good. Okay, and the reason is because there is a exemption for a certain amount of dollars, whatever it happens to be, as a gift item, i.e., so I'm sending this item as a present to you, as opposed to, oh, you paid money for me to dub these tapes for you and for me to send them back to you. Okay, but these are actually being sent. I am sending these things to you as a gift back to you. So that way you get to follow, or get an exemption of usually, let's say $20 or something, for example, as a gift. Okay. So this way the person can then avoid having to pay extra money for when you get these video cassettes from people. Now, it doesn't always work that way, and many times I get charged the extra taxes and that kind of stuff from people, from getting my videotapes sent to me from the U.S. Okay, and that happens to be not all the time. Sure, it happens to me once in a while. It's really annoying because for us it's okay. It's the tax is supposed to be the GST or the government services tax, which is 7%. Okay, so on a lot of, let's say, 10 tapes at $5 a tape, and it's like $50 worth of cassettes. The government is supposed to collect $3.50 on top of that parcel. Now, sure, if the guy has nothing better to do and maybe he hasn't met his quota or something, and says, I'm gonna write this guy for $3.50. Sure, whatever. So so he does that. But that's not all. You see, the thing is that usually when you get charged, that sort of excise tax, that kind of stuff, they usually charge you the processing fee for the $3.50, which usually is something like $10. Okay, UPS and that kind of stuff. If they have to process the customs fee for you, they'll charge you a certain processing fee, i.e., the time and the effort that it takes that employee to actually process that that thing for you, right? So all of a sudden you're now paying $3.50. Plus the $10 for the processing fee to make $11 whatever. So now all of a sudden it becomes $13.50 for these extra these tapes that I just suddenly got, right? And of course they charge all these other little stupid things on top of that, because I don't think the taxes on top of the taxes can occur when that happens, and so you end up with a fee somewhere around $15 or whatever it happens to be, that you didn't expect to pay but you have to pay in order to get this before you get your those tapes, right? So it's something really, really annoying. So when a lot of people, what they do is that when they fill these things out, they tick mark the box a gift, okay, and they send it that way. So that's one of the things that happens. And when people refer to it, so again, I see some various different websites and that kind of stuff. They mark down things like, oh, can you please mark the item as a gift, okay? When you buy things on eBay or something, instead of being, oh, I'm buying this merchandise from you, can you on the customs form, mark off the gift, selection, right, or the box labeled a gift, so that way, their purchase of $100 doesn't get the additional taxes put onto it when it enters their country, okay, and so that's where that concept comes from. Again, back in the days when we were throwing video cassettes around and audio cassettes and merchandise like books and that kind of stuff, this was a very common practice to do, and most of the veteran people know how to as I said make the parcels a little bit smaller so that the values are lower, devalue them also, so instead of charging $5 a video cassette, only charge like $2 a video cassette. So then so 10 video cassettes only ends up being $20, and therefore, if you mark it as a gift, it usually falls under the $20, minimum, maximum for the gift declaration. So therefore, you don't get charged on that place. That sort of thing. Constantly happens. Again, I'm gonna make a separate episode, on the Patreon about these, other nefarious things that we used to do, when doing, the tape trading and other things that anime fans had to deal with the, mailing systems and that kind of stuff. Again, I'll put that in the other video because we won't talk about it on this one, obviously, because this one's gonna be slated for YouTube, and I'm sure YouTube would not be appreciative of that kind of thing, right? Another reason why you want to be a subscriber, okay? Anyway, so those are two little things I came across that you'd be probably interested to know, and that is part of our history, when dealing with this type of thing. Again, and this is probably forgotten a lot by the modern era because we just don't do things like tape trading and that kind of stuff and whatnot. We do other things like I'm sure that when you buy things from Etsy and Wish. You buy things from eBay and whatnot. We run across these same issues and same things, but we don't think of them the same way. And we've grown accustomed to knowing these these things and procedures, but we just don't know the underlying things behind them. And again, a lot of this, these techniques such as marking off gifts and that kind of stuff really originated back in the day when we started. When we were still trading video cassettes and that kind of stuff, and whatnot, and using these old-fashioned archaic things. Now, of course, they've modernized it, and I'm sure they're keeping very close track of how much value of goods travel between our countries nowadays. All right, so I hope you found this very interesting and a little last best, and hopefully you learned something a little bit new about something that we still do to this modern day. Just not in a little bit of a different aspect. Again, if you want to learn more about it, check out the Patreon and the subscribers when I get that episode out there. All right. So until next time, I will see you again.